for taking the time to join us today in this seminar. My name is Rashid Suleiman. I work with the Center for Research on Innovation and Science Policy based at Hyderabad, India. And we also host the Network Agricultural Extension in South Asia. So in this webinar, we aim to achieve two things. Firstly, we would like to share various funding, scholarship, internship opportunities available for Indian students in agriculture and allied sciences in Germany and also abroad generally. And secondly, we would also like to provide you more specific information on the requirements for applying for these fellowships, what criteria you need to fulfill, and also generally during what time of the year you will have this, this call for funding usually comes. At ESA, we generally believe that having an international exposure early in the career, especially during your MSc and PhD level, will help you to acquire a lot of new capacities that are needed in your career. But the problem is that many students do not know, sufficiently do not know. You can always see, you can always look at the websites, etc. But they sufficiently do not know the opportunities and also the best practices in making a successful proposal to avail these opportunities. And so our main motivation in organizing this webinar is to address this information gap. I would like to thank especially Archana Satin from the Kerala Agricultural University for taking this initiative, because she's the one who approached us that why can't we do a webinar like that to help young students who are pursuing, who would like to pursue higher education in Germany. As you all might have noted, because all the speakers who are here, including the moderator, we are here, are either pursuing their PhD in Germany and other countries, and some have already, they all have experiences of having applied for many of these kind of scholarships and have the experience of working or maybe of studying in this university, especially abroad, and so they are knowledgeable about all the kind of requirements and how to meet these requirements. Some housekeeping rules during this event: we would request all of you to mute your speakers, except the speakers. I think all the participants kindly mute, and we will be feel free to drop your questions, points of clarification in the chat. We will try to see how many of those questions could be taken up during the session. We will be recording this event and we will be sharing this through the ESA YouTube channel, and we'll also put the PPTs which will be used, which we will be using in this webinar in that. We have a lot to cover today, and without further delay, I would like to request Aditya, who will be moderating this event. Aditya is a scientist in agricultural economics with the ICR, Indian Agriculture Research Institute in New Delhi. And currently he's pursuing his PhD at the Humboldt University, Berlin, Germany. And he's also a fellow recipient of the Netaji Subhash ICR International Fellowship. So once again, a warm welcome to all of you, and over to you, Aditya. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. At the outset, good morning or good afternoon to all of you, depending on whichever time zone you are tuning in. So at the outset, I'd like to thank Dr. Rashid, sir, for setting the floor and introducing the objectives of this webinar. And I would also like to welcome my co-panelists for this session. So the session is planned in such a way that all the panelists will make a brief presentation to start with, and they will be introducing to you about one scholarship program. After that, we will have a round of questions, mainly related to study in Germany or in general in Europe or abroad. And then we will open the session for the questions from you, the audience. As I said, you can keep posting your questions in the chat box. We will address those questions at the end. So without wasting much time, I'd like to ask my co-panelist, Dr. Archana, who is also DAAD Ambassador for Agriculture, to briefly introduce yourself to the audience and then make a presentation about DAAD funding opportunities. Floor is yours, Archana.
Thank you, Aditya, for introducing. And good afternoon to everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Rashid sir, for offering such a platform to inform the Indian aspirants about higher education opportunities abroad. Before going to the presentation, I would like to introduce myself. I am Dr. Archana Raghavan Satyan, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Agricultural Extension, Kerala Agriculture University. And I completed my post-graduation from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University in Agricultural Extension. Then I completed my master's, international master's in rural development from Humboldt University of Berlin and Ghent University, Belgium, as an Erasmus Mundus scholar. Then I served State Department of Agriculture for 5 years, and after that decided to pursue my higher education, that is PhD in agriculture from Germany. I got a German Academic Exchange Service scholarship, and I completed my PhD from Justus Liebig University of Gießen, Germany in 2019. Then joined Kerala Agriculture University the same year itself. Now I act as DAD Research Ambassador in agriculture. Moreover, I work as a external member in Center for International Development and Environmental Research, Justus Liebig University, Gießen. So I hope that you all have some kind of expectations from this webinar to know about German higher education opportunities. So I would like to say more about German Academic Exchange Service, popularly known as DAD. This is the world's largest funding agency who offers funding for various scholars, professors, and academic exchange programs. So German Academic Exchange Service offers three types of funding. First one, individual scholarship programs. Second, bilateral programs and project-based programs. Individual scholarship programs is for students, PhD researchers, and postdoctoral researchers, and bilateral programs for research combining, like collaborating researchers from two nations. And project-based programs also help us to collaborate with the German researchers and do the projects together. So first, I focus on types of funding, that is individual funding, especially for the students. And students, we know that there are two types, like bachelor students, graduate students, and graduate students or doctoral researchers. And the third one is postdoctoral researchers, senior scientists or faculty members from state agriculture universities or ICR system, or even from any other traditional universities in India. Next slide, please. First, I would like to say briefly about the individual scholarship programs offered for bachelor students. I would like to remind everyone that there is no bachelor programs offered in English in Germany. Almost 99% of the programs are offered in English. So the higher education opportunities for bachelor students in Germany is very less, because you need to learn German up to CT level, C2 level, to continue your education in Germany. But there are two options provided by DAD, that is WISE and also RISE scholarship scheme. And the WISE scholarship scheme is for internships in science and engineering in Germany. So if you are pursuing your higher education here in any of the institutes in India, you can do an internship program there in Germany up to 3 months. And the German DAD will be providing you the flight fare. Then your living expenses will be covered with 861 euros per month, and also your health insurance. These are the advantages. For that, you need to establish contact with the German university professors or research group, and you should get a letter of invitation for internship from Germany. Unfortunately, this internship is provided only for the top level institutes until last year, that is from IITs and NIITs. But DAD has ensured that they will try to include our traditional universities also in the coming call. For the time being, it is closed for this year. And the other one is RISE, that is Research Institute Internships in Science and Engineering for German students to come and learn from our institutes and universities. So Indian professors can invite some German students here, and also they will get an experience from our universities. This will be creating a kind of collaborations and future networking. That is the advantage that German students coming here and experiencing our research system. Next one. So as I mentioned, this is the only scholarship opportunities provided by German Academic Exchange Service for the bachelor students. Now I move to the master student scholarship programs. There are four types of programs. First one is Helmut Schmidt program that is related with the public policy and good governance. There are a couple of universities available in Germany which offer this program. So you can just, I will be providing the link later, and you can just search for the universities which offer this program. If you apply for the admission there, your scholarship will also attach to this program admission. That is the advantage. So it is like a structured program where you will be getting admission as well as the scholarship together. And the second set is development related postgraduate courses, that is EPOS. There are a number of courses suitable for BSc agro graduates who can continue their post graduation there in Germany. And this will be dealt with my co-panelist Vrindaja, because she is dealing with the master's programs in detail. And that another one is about fields of agriculture, architecture, fine art, design, visual communication, music, performing arts, etc. You may be wondering that whether scholarship opportunities are available for these courses. Yes, it is available for the students. So you can directly apply to the universities which is offering these kind of courses. And in India, they will be taking the scholarship application every year, uh, October, mid or end of October. So you can directly apply for the scholarship there. And these fields, universities in Germany. An in-region scholarship program at IIT Bombay. This is a special program for South Asia region. That is, students from Nepal, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka, they can apply for master's program at IIT Bombay, and DAD will be providing scholarship for these students. Next slide. Then about individual scholarship programs for PhD students, research grant for continuing your doctoral studies there. There are two types of PhD degrees or degree programs offered in Germany. That is individual PhD programs or structured PhD program. In case of individual PhD program, you will be approaching a professor in Germany. That means you have to find top ranked universities in Germany. You have to find the faculty and your lab or the department where you would like to attach, and get an invitation letter from the professor. For getting this invitation letter, you can directly write to the professor with a short CV and also a research proposal. If he would like to guide you, he will be definitely giving an invitation letter. With this invitation letter, you can apply for the doctor's fellowship at a DAD New Delhi office. And if you are shortlisted, they will be calling for an interview. And if you get the selection, you can directly go to that professor's lab and work there, and the funding will be provided by DAD. And in case of structured PhD program, like I have done with the Justice Leibig University Gießen, it is attached with the scholarship. So you will be applying directly to the university in Germany, and if you are getting admission there, it will be attached with the scholarship also. So it is easier for you to process the things. So the procedure will be completed in one single step. And there is another option for PhD scholars in India, that is binationally supervised doctoral degrees, or we call it like co-tutelle. In this case, you can pursue your PhD half here in India, and other half will be supervised by a German professor. In this case also, you can directly write to German professors. You feel similarity in your work or research focus, you can write to the German professor, and he will surely guide you if he is interested in the work. And in this case, one condition is like you should enroll into the PhD program in any of the Indian university. The degree will be provided by Indian university, but supervision will be by two supervisors from India as well as from Germany. The third one, in-region scholarship program at IIT Bombay. This is a special program for Nepal, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka. Those students who would like to pursue their PhD at IIT Bombay, they can come and get admission, and also they can try for DAD scholarship. So what are all the requirements? So we know the different opportunities for bachelor's, master students, PhD students, and PhD students pursuing PhD in Indian university and everything. So what are all the basic requirements that we need for filing a DAD application? First one, passport. You need your passport for sure. And also proof of language skills, English language skill for English medium of instruction is in English. That kind of courses offered in Germany. And everyone has a belief that most of the courses are offered in German. It is not like that. More than 200 structured programs are offered in English. So one condition, you can get a medium of instruction certificate from your university if you have completed your bachelor's and master's in English. So your dean of faculty or sometimes registrar of the university can provide the certificate. And some of the universities strictly follow international certificates like IELTS and TOEFL. And in this case, you need a 7-band score for IELTS, and TOEFL, it is 95 points. This is mandatory. The advantage is if you are getting this English language test, the possibility for applying to a number of universities is possible in a single year. So it's always better to get this language proficiency certificates also, so that you can apply to many universities. And for German courses, you should learn German if you would like to continue your education in German there. So it's like C2 level of German language proficiency is required. You can get it from any Goethe Centrum in India, or there are some kind of tests specifically for these kind of people who would like to pursue their higher education in German medium. Another important thing is you need 2 years of working experience in a relevant field. This is the hard point that most of the aspirants may be facing. You can't apply for a master's program or a PhD program soon after you complete your bachelor's. You need to work for some time, and it's like almost 2 years of working experience you need. And then another thing is like you need a convincing subject related motivation letter. Why you would like to go to the specific German university or specifically to Germany, specifically to that program, that you need to state in the motivation letter. In the motivation letter, you can just brief about your background, how you are fitting with the course, and also the top universities you have attended or some of your strong points to get selected for the program. And then another important condition that DAD gives is like your most recent university degree obtained in the last 6 years. So when you are applying, the gap between your application and the last period shouldn't exceed 6 years. That is also important. Then personally signed and dated full curriculum vitae. Some of the universities are requesting, like demanding from Europa's form of curriculum vitae. You can also search that in the Google. You will get the format and you can prepare accordingly. And for the master's programs, one letter of recommendation, sometimes it may be signed by your recent employer or from the professors. But in case of PhD program, there are two additional things that you need. That is 3 recommendation letters you need from your professors and one full proposal, like what research you would like to do there, or in India, if it is a social, if you are from a social science background. So the introduction and objectives, background, and the methodology, everything should be clearly stated, and that proposal also you need to attach. Then I would like to say a few things about advantages of DAD scholarship. So if you are getting a DAD scholarship, it will be a full package that you may be getting around 860 euros per month. For master students, that would be sufficient for a student to live in Germany. And for PhD program, it is 1,200 euros per month. And if you have a family, you can take your family also there in Germany, because they provide spouse and child allowance and health insurance and also to and fro flight ticket. So this is the value of the scholarship if you are getting selected for the scholarship. Hence, you can think about the prestigious and competitiveness of the scholarship worldwide. And I wish all the aspirants success for filing your application and open to your queries at the end. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Archana. That was quite informative. And I hope participants will find it very useful. Now I pass the baton to my dear friend, Mr. Subhash, who is also a scientist at ICR. So I request Subhash to first introduce yourself to the forum and then make a presentation on ASTAF funding opportunities. So over to you, Subhash.
Yeah, thank you, Aditya. Hello, everyone. I'm Subhash. Currently, I'm doing PhD with Center for Developmental Research, which is which has a German acronym CEF with University of Bonn, Germany. I'm supported by ETSAP Academy Scholarship, and I'll be briefly talking about the scholarship and its requirements. Before going into details regarding the scholarship, let me briefly share my professional journey. In my case, this detail is important for my selection into the scholarship. Nimisha, could you please share the slides? Next slide, please. So in brief, I did my undergrad program in agriculture in 2006 to 10. After that, I joined my master's program in agriculture economics. After that, I was in CIMIT, which is a Spanish acronym for International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center. I worked there for 2 years. After that, I joined ICR as a scientist and worked till 2021. And as I mentioned before, currently I'm funded through ETSAF Academy Scholarship and pursuing my PhD in University of Bonn. Next slide, please. Just to briefly mention about what the scholarship is and how it is structured. ETSAF is a German acronym for a Council for Tropical and Subtropical Agriculture Research, established under a project funded by German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation, which is called as BMZ and GIZ. The aim of the academy is to involve PhD and master's students from Germany and from other and international universities in CGIAR++ research projects. CGIAR institutes are a group of international research institutes working in different crops-based production systems. Please Google what CGIAR institutes are. You could find more details about it. This scholarship is pretty unique in a way that this is a tripartite scholarship, which means it involves 3 parties here. One is ETSAF, which is facilitating the scholarship, CGIAR Institute, and the German university. So they offer 2 scholarships, one for PhD, and next is for juniors. Next scholarship is called the Junior Scientist Program for master's student. Next slide, please. Just to briefly mention about the PhD scholarship. Before going into detail, I would say that they have currently closed the application for this ETSAF PhD scholarship. They might advertise a new round of it, but I have confirmed with them. They said they don't have at this point of time. Just to briefly mention what are the requirements, you need a master's degree in agriculture or allied disciplines. This scholarship is for any PhD program in agriculture or allied disciplines. You should have, as Archana mentioned, you should have a very good command of English language. It means that you need to provide, it's good if you could provide some support using TOEFL or IELTS. One thing you need is that you need a support letter from the university professor in Germany. Also, you need a support letter from a researcher in a CGIAR++ center, mentioning that they are ready to take you under their project. The benefits are they're about like €1,500 per month, plus a research grant of €25,000, which is pretty high. Also, this is a good fellowship in which you have a lot of opportunities to network. Next slide, please. As I just mentioned, one good opportunity now is for master's students offered through this ETSAF Academy scholarship. This is not a scholarship for your funding your whole master's program. Rather, it's a support program for your master's research. In the next 3 years, they are advertising almost like 96 positions. So this is a good opportunity for master's students who are doing their master's in India to collaborate with some German university professors and also working with the CGIAR Institute. The requirement is that you should have at least completed one semester of your master's degree in an Indian university. It means that you're already enrolled in a university. You should have very good command of English language. Here, they're not asking for any TOEFL or IELTS scores, but they would usually evaluate based on your motivation letter. You need a support from a university professor from Germany. It means that you need to write letters to German professors, and they're interested in taking you. Also, you need a support from a researcher in CGR Institute, which like that to mention that they are interested in taking you under the project. Another is that you also need to have your own international liability and health insurance. The health insurance is not covered from this fellowship. What benefits you get is that you get support from ATSAF Academy, which helps you in getting you connected to getting you connected and do all the administrative support for you in Germany. You get contacts with other international institutes and CGR Institute. One biggest catch is that you can use data from CGR Institute for your master's degree. The kind of support you get is almost, if they give you up to 7,000 euro for a period of 6 months, which is good enough to actually manage your expenses if you're coming to Germany for 6 months and doing your work in a German university. This is just to mention that this is also available to Indian students who are currently pursuing masters in Germany. That's it from my side. We'll be discussing more in detail later. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Subhash. That was very informative and brief. I have a few questions to ask you, but I'll keep that for the panel discussion. So now I would request Vrindaja to make a presentation on DAD EPOS program, and she's pursuing her master's in Econ from University of Hohenheim. So the floor is yours, Vrindaja.
Thank you so much, Ms. Aditya. So greetings of the day to all of you. Before coming to the presentation, I would like to thank Rashid sir, as well as Dr. Archana ma'am, and all my co-panelists who arranged this program. Thank you so much. And coming to the DAD EPOS program, before let me introduce myself. My name is Vrindaja Vikram. I'm currently doing my Master's in Agriculture Economics at University of Hohenheim, Stuttgart in Germany. And I did my bachelor's in agriculture from Kerala Agriculture University. So coming to DAD EPOS program, it is development related postgraduate program. So this program is related for people who have 2 years working experience after their bachelor's or more than that. And these courses are only for development related courses. So coming to DAD EPOS, there are nearly 35 EPOS programs that you can apply for under different interdisciplinaries such as maths, engineering, medical, natural science, arts, etc. And coming to agriculture, I would like to state that, can you just move to the next slide? Thank you. Yeah. There are 4 courses which comes under agri or forestry related DAD EPOS programs. So DAD has German courses as well as English courses. The number of courses that I have listed here is the English medium taught courses. So it has 4 courses under agri or forestry, of which one is PhD program and rest 3 are master's program, of which 2 are for the forestry, that is tropical forestry, which is under Technical University of Dresden, and other is tropical and international forestry, which is at George Augustine, that is University of Göttingen. So, and I'm doing my agriculture economics master's at University of Hohenheim, which is another EPOS fully funded program. So I would like to go into how to apply for the program, as well as what are the admission criteria and how to look into it. So the deadline for the application is 15 December 2022 for 2023 intake, which means that you need to be prepared well in advance before the the scholarship is applied or called. So what are the different things that you need is, you need your bachelor degree certificate, which is obviously you need, then English language proficiency. Here, people who come from India, they do not support medium of instruction language or the memorandum of language documents. They need IELTS or TOEFL or other international proficiency test proof. That is another criteria, 6.5 band in IELTS or around 90 score in TOEFL. Then coming to university entrance qualification, it just means your 12th standard documents, your high secondary documents. Then a motivation letter in English, which suggests your how you got motivated to German university, how you need to pursue your masters here, what are your interests, and what all things you need to do after you have done your masters here to your home country. That means EPOS programs are structured in such a way that you need to pursue education here in Germany, and after completing your masters, you want to go back to your country and do development related programs in your home country, which will be beneficial for your country. That's it. Then
Vrindaja, you are muted.
Okay, sorry. So then you need a CV, which should be in the Europass format. Then for AG account program particularly, you need to pass one of a pre-test. It's just for criteria to analyze, like you need to know what all things you want to study, because agri-economics is more into statistics and pure microeconomics. Just the rankings of the mark are not a criteria to evaluate. It's just the participation you need. Then ranking or the recommendation letter, you need 2 recommendation letters. One, you can take it from your professors or from your previous bachelor studies, and one from the recent employer under you were working. And then you need 2 years professional working experience. At least it is a mandatory thing to get into the EPOS program, to get the scholarship. Apart from that, if you want to go into a self-funding program, you don't need this 2-year practical work experience. Then the new thing is APS certificate, which you need to apply to the university. Yeah. Nimsha ma'am, can you just change the slide? Thank you. So what is being funded through EPOS? The highlight of the program is that you will monthly get an amount of 861 euros or like 1,200 for PhD programs, and all your health, personal and accidental insurance liabilities will be covered under this scholarship, as well as your travel allowance from the home country will be funded. And in some circumstances, the scholarship of holders may get other benefits like their monthly rent subsidies or allowance for accompanying members of the family. But it all depends upon from which country are you coming from. People from underdeveloped countries have the more chance to get more scholarship. So anyway, a scholarship holder will get 861 euros per month, which will be more than enough to survive here. That's it. So it's a highlight of this program. So coming to University of Hohenheim. University of Hohenheim is Germany's #1 agriculture university. And I'm doing my master's here. University of Hohenheim have different programs, agriculture programs, both in German as well as English, after which these are the listed courses which you can apply for self-funding also without any scholarships or things. If you are interested in any of them, you can apply for that too. So that's about EPOS. If you have any queries, you can post it in the chat box. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Vrindaja. That was quite comprehensive overview of the EPOS program. Now I would like to invite Milka Susan, who is doing Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Program in Soil Science in Turkey. So she will be providing a brief overview of Erasmus Mundus funding opportunities. So over to you, Milka.
Thank you so much. So I am Milka Susan. I would like to introduce myself. I did my bachelor's from BSc Honours Agriculture in Kerala Agriculture University. And as soon as I finished my bachelor's, I got into Erasmus Montes joint master's degree in soil science. And currently I am doing my first semester in Turkey. And next slide. Yeah, so talking about Erasmus Montes joint master degree, this is an prestigious integrated international study program which is funded by European Union for running the program, as well as offer many competitive scholarships in this. And the participants, the most highlighting thing of this Erasmus Montes is that we get an opportunity to complete our masters in 2 or more countries. So each program will be having a consortium of universities, and we will be completing our masters in different universities during different semesters or during the period of our masters. And Erasmus Montes is available in around 12 areas covering 163 subjects, and we have agriculture subjects in this. So in the Google, you can find the Erasmus Montes Joint Master Degree Catalog, the link which I have provided in this. You can go to the catalog and find if your subject is having the scholarship in this. Yeah, so most interesting part of this is the funding. So European Union provides us a funding towards our travel, which is 2,000 to 3,000 euros per year. It depends on the country and the mobility of the program which we select or which we are into. So it is the travel allowance which is provided during our program. The next is the installation cost, which covers our like the visa charges which we take, or else once we come to the country of mobility, we have to settle ourselves. So for that purpose, they are providing us 1,000 euros per year. And next is the participation cost as well as the insurance, which cover our education cost, and they also provide us a world an insurance which is accepted by all around the world. So it is also depending on the program as well as the country which we are going into, and it covers around 6,000 to 9,000 euros per year. And next is the living allowance or the monthly allowance. It is the stipend which we get for 24 months of our masters. It covers 1,000 euros per month. So it is from this money where we have to find our living allowance. And it is found to be a good amount of money, easy to survive. Like we can even have savings of ourselves using 1,000 euros per month. And it is a fully funded scholarship with 100% coverage of all our needs. Now I will introduce you a little number of programs in Erasmus Montes. One of them is International Master of Science in Rural Development. It is available in the countries of Belgium, Italy, Slovakia, Germany, Spain, and France. We will be getting an opportunity to do our masters in either 2 or more than 2 countries, like doing our first semester in one country, second semester in another country, and thesis maybe in different country. So and its applications are open now. You can apply if needed. Its deadline is on 28 February 2023. Next is Erasmus Montes Master Program in Plant Breeding. It also has the consortium of universities where we'll be doing our masters. It is also open now, and it finishes on 12th January 23. So the thing is that Erasmus Montes applications are open now. Who all are like willing to apply can go and apply now. It's open, and it will be finishing around in January or like end of the February. Next slide. Yeah, Erasmus Montes Masters in Soil Science. So this is the program in which I am currently now. I am doing my first semester in Turkey. Then I will go to Bulgaria for my second semester and will come back to Turkey again for my master thesis. I have my master thesis back in Turkey. So it opened their application yesterday, and it is extending till the February end. That's it. And also Erasmus Montes is also having some partially funded courses now in this year, in which you have to find some other sources to fund yourself, like a consortium scholarships or something. So that it's like you have to travel from one country to the other for your masters. So you will need to fund yourself, either like self-funding, or you can go for some other consortium scholarships, or there will be loans which is provided by European Union. So you can go for that also. Some of the other programs is like Master in Applied Eco-Hydrology, Groundwater and Global Challenge, Mediterranean Forestry, Natural Resource Management, etc. Yeah, so coming to the admission requirements, you need a passport. You need a passport while applying itself. You need to give the passport number in the application itself, not after the application. And next is the CV. Curriculum vitae is very important. You have to highlight each and everything which you have done till date. Next is the degree certificate. Degree certificate can be submitted by the students who have completed your bachelor's, but it is also possible for the students who are doing or who is currently in your last year of study. I applied during my last year of bachelor's, and I got into this program soon after I finished my bachelor's. Next is the transcript of records, which we have for all the semesters we have to submit. Next is either IELTS or TOEFL. Coming to the IELTS, each program in Erasmus Mundus has different criteria in IELTS, different scores in IELTS. So you have to go and search in the websites of each program to see what is the benchmark suggested by each program. Next is the motivation letter. You have to frame the motivation letter, as well as 2 reference letters. It can be from your professors or your employers. In Erasmus Mundus programs, there is no compulsory or something mandatory like you need a work experience. No, it's not like that. Even freshers can apply for Erasmus Mundus program. Next is the declaration, which can be downloaded from the program website. We have to just sign, write our name and upload. Next is domicile certificate, which can be obtained from our municipality or local body in India. Then the bona fide student certificate, which has to be obtained from the university which we are enrolled in, to prove that we are the student of the university. Then is the course completion certificate. This comes in the case of students who are in their final year, to prove that they are going to complete their course in so and so dates. So that's all about Erasmus Mundus. So all the best wishes to all those students who are applying this year. It's currently open. Go ahead and apply and come back winning. Thank you.
Thanks, Milka. That was very good. Now it's my turn to make a presentation. So before that, as Sir introduced, I'm Aditya. I'm doing my PhD at Humboldt University of Berlin. And before that, I'm also a scientist at Indian Agriculture Research Institute. I served for 5 years before joining my PhD degree. So today I'm going to talk about Netaji Subhash ICR International Fellowship, which is funding my PhD degree now. It's a flagship program of ICR, our own Indian Council. So every year it is supposed to advertise 30 positions for PhD degree. And out of these 30 positions, 20 are for the Indian candidates who want to pursue their PhD abroad, and 10 are for the foreign students who wish to come to India and pursue their degrees here. Though the advertisement for the scholarship is not very regular. Sometimes it comes once in 2 years, because of last few years we had COVID and all those issues. So it has not been very regular, but keep looking at ICR website, and usually during June, July time, the first call will come with a deadline of application at 30th August or September. And then it will have different rounds of selection process, which I'll talk in my next slide. Nimisha, next slide, please. Yeah. So what is the eligibility criteria for this Netaji Subhash Fellowship? So it's Masters in Agriculture and Allied Subjects. So with the OGPA of more than 6.60, and if you are a fresher candidate, which means you're not in service, then age limit is 35. If you're in service candidate, it's open for both the category of candidates. Then age limit is 40 years. And if you're in service, then you have to be employed at ICR Agri University system. But if you are a fresher, then date of qualifying exam should not be before 2 years, which means if you take 2 years gap, then you become ineligible for this program. And to apply for this program, you should write a proposal, research proposal. And ICR in their website, along with a fellowship call, they will highlight the priority areas of research, and your proposal should target one of those priority areas. So they'll list more than 60, 70 different priority areas sometimes. So you need to address one of those priority areas in your proposal. Next slide, please. So the application process is like that. They will have an application format where you will fill, and you need to provide 2 references. As like in other fellowship programs, one reference is usually your professor. If you have some work experience, it can also be your last boss or immediate supervisor. Then, as I mentioned earlier, you need to write a research proposal. And in addition, you need to get a letter of support from the university where you would like to study. For instance, if this fellowship program is open for all the countries, you can go to whatever country you wish to, but at your own capacity, you have to talk to the supervisor and get a letter of support. How do you get it? You first write a research proposal, identify the university where you want to study, then approach the professor who is more likely to support you because your line of work match with each other, your interest in area of work match with each other. Then you approach the professor and get a letter of support, which is important for this fellowship. And research proposal is also important. And the candidates will be shortlisted based on evaluation criteria. It includes like awards, publication, your marks, your proposal, all these things are included. And once you're shortlisted, then there will be an interview. And, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. So there will be interview, and after the interview, you will be selected. Okay. So in the interview, you have to make a short presentation. After the selection, each candidate has to provide a bank guarantee, which is equivalent to 10,000 US dollars, which means you have to deposit the money in a bank and get the bank guarantee and submit it to ICR. If you complete your degree in 3 years or 4 years, then you will get back that money. That bank guarantee is revoked. And you also need a medical certificate that you need to provide to the council. And you need to coordinate with your university, your professor to finalize the traveling and joining dates. So ICR will book flight tickets for you for your place of study once two, and after the completion coming back, those 2 flight charges will be covered by the council. And the monthly fellowship that you will get is equivalent to 2,000 US dollars. So if you are in Germany, it will be converted to euros, and whichever country you are in, it will be converted to the local currency, but the fellowship amount is fixed, 2,000 US dollars. Remember, this is gross, which means if you have to pay tuition fee to your university, the council will not provide any additional stipend for that. And health insurance is not covered. Any other living expenses are not covered. You'll only get 1,000 USD per year as a contingency. There is no separate research grant. There is no medical insurance coverage. And there is no coverage of tuition fee. So all these things you need to take care of. So before selecting the university, you have to think about all these aspects, because if you take some private university in US, the professor may be ready to give you a letter of support. But if the tuition fee is too high, and if your entire fellowship amount goes to paying your tuition fee, then you'll not be able to support yourself. So pick your country carefully and pick your university carefully. And also another clause is that the funding is only for 3 years and it won't be extended. Next slide, please. That's it. So one thing which you need to remember, I think this is same for all other programs as well. It's difficult to start preparing once the advertisement is published because the time is very limited. So pick your program that you want to apply and start early. So because for ICF fellowship, once the announcement is made, the deadline is just 2 months away. You need to write a proposal. You need to share that proposal to with the professor, get a letter of support. So it will take time. So start early. And in these presentations, our aim is not to be very comprehensive in providing every detailed requirement of the fellowship programs, but rather it was to introduce you to different opportunities that are there. Now it's your responsibility to look into them and carefully see what are the requirements, whether you meet those requirements or not. I thank all my panelists for a very detailed presentation. And now I'd like to start the panel discussion. I have a few round of questions which I would like to ask to specific participants. And this is again related to study in Europe or study in Germany. And then if there are more questions, we will we'll take those questions. So to start with, so now we have understood that there are different opportunities for funding. But why Europe or why Germany? Apart from the quality of life that you have, apart from the chance to live in a foreign country and understand the culture, how is the education system differ when you compare it with India? How do you see it? So what are the advantages of studying there? So I would like to go first to Rindaja and then to Milka, because they are right now pursuing their masters in Germany and Turkey. So I would like to hear from them. How do you see the difference between the two education systems?
Yeah, coming to Germany, I would say the number one difference is that we have a diversity of institutions, like people from different countries. So it will be like an international experience for us to learn from different people, how they did their bachelor's, how they got their job opportunities back there in their home country, how it's different from our culture. So the cultural integration is a number one thing that we will acquire from here. Then the global reputation of the academic excellences that we have here, because Germany is number one in their education system. I would say the one that we have learned from our kindergarten to our bachelor's or whatever maybe it is, it's entirely different from what the education system in Europe or in Germany. So it's not just the pen paper test. It's not just the reading books. It's more into practical oriented lecture classes, more into discussion. So, and also the way the programs are chartered, that we can specialize in what we need rather than to go into a structured curriculum. So if you have an interest in specialization in one of a subject, you can go into it. You can learn more into that subject. You can take modules of that courses. So it's nothing based on a curriculum. You can get anything that you need. And also, I would say the rich culture as well as the quality of life that we get here is entirely different from what we have in our country. No, I should say that India is developing on its in every field, and we can see all kind of differences in our day-to-day life activities in here, because it's already a developed countries. The technology that we have is different. And also Europe, especially Germany, is a future-oriented country where they plan everything based on the future. So what we study now will be applicable for the next 10 or 20 years. We can have an eye on our future. So these are the things I found here.
Milka, you want to join? You want to add something?
Yeah, just like Vritaja said now, the same is in my case. The culture, like we are more than 10 students, more than 16 students from more than 10 different countries. So it's very different exposure over here. Just like she said, we are also discussing about everything, how we faced, how we came into this opportunity and all. And the cutting edge facilities, the cutting edge technology, the scientific approaches which we do here is entirely different from what we did back in India. The way we learn things, the way the professor teach us things is very different. So it's a very good exposure which I am getting now. It's a very good experience which I am going through.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, as you rightly said, apart from the differences and the cultural integration that we see, the education, just like everything else, is very future looking. So they always have an eye for the future. When it comes to PhD degree, this altogether a different cup of tea. We always say the type of PhD or how it is structured is completely different compared to rest of the world. Europe has a different system. So I would like to hear from my friend Subhash. How do you see the differences in the PhD program in Europe versus rest of the world?
Thank you, Aditya, for that question. So just to put it out first, every country, every university has its own criteria. So, but there are like some stark differences, especially across continents. So we can cluster at least Europe together. I will list 4 key differences, which I found to be a bit different. We should know about it. First is that for example, for US universities, most universities, GRE is compulsory. They're kind of getting rid of it nowadays, but still GRE is an essential component to it. In Europe, except few top universities, it's not compulsory. So it's much flexible. If you in Europe, if you are not comfortable with GRE, Europe is a good option. It kinds of provide you a same quality of education compared to US. Second is in US, most of the funding for your PhD is through teaching assistant or research assistant. In case of Europe, it's mostly through scholarships, supports through projects, or you can also self-fund. Just specifically to say that in Germany, the tuition fee is less so that you can even sponsor yourself for your degree. One of the implications is that compared to a teaching assistant or research assistant, the commitment is less, so that you usually finish your PhD earlier compared to an US PhD. Like for example, in case of Germany, you could finish it in 3 or 4 years, but in US, most degree programs, it could stretch up to 5 to 6 years. The third part is that the selection process in US, it's through a selection committee. So you have to apply to the university. There is a selection committee which selects. But mostly in case of it, in Europe, most universities also have a selection. Few universities have a selection committee, but it's highly dependent on the professor. So it's like the way to get into any European university is writing to professor and convincing them that you are an interesting candidate to get into. If the professor is really interested in you to taking you as a student, you have a good chance of getting into it. That's from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, Subhash. Yeah, when it comes to PhD in Europe, as Subhash rightly said, getting in a university is a completely different process because many universities do not have a structured program. Few universities do have, and if you don't have a structured program, the way to get into a university is by approaching the professor, and through them you get admission into a PhD program. And there is more focus on the research part rather than the course part if it is not a structured program. So those are the different things for PhD. But in this presentation, I think it was very evident that the selection criteria that we see for these programs is completely different. Each program have their own set of criteria. Some programs require experience, some program require something else. And our students, our postgraduate students in India, they are used to sort of writing an exam and then getting a seat for the master's or for PhD, or the selection is based on sort of grade or something else. So this is completely a different thing altogether when it comes to getting a seat abroad. So if some of the students want to work on their specific skill set and want to increase their chance of getting admitted by a foreign student university, what are the things that they should work on, or what are the important selection criterias, which is, you can say, kind of standard for most of these programs, and what they can work on to increase their chance or probability of getting selected. So I'd like to hear from Archana on these selection criterias and what they should focus on.
Thank you, Aditya, for the question. And I think, first of all, we need to do a long
Kindly mute, please. Kindly mute. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, we should have a long-term planning, because like 1.5 years of planning is required for applying any kind of program. So the grade point average is not only the criteria that decide your selection process. As we all know, in case of agriculture students, it's like 8.5 OGPA. We consider it as it's a good OGPA. It's okay, it's fine that you can apply. It doesn't mean that you should secure the highest one like 9.3 to get admitted in a foreign university. So it's only one criteria that determine your selection process. Then when you are writing the motivation letter, like your real motivation, why you would like to choose the university. So in German universities, we all know that there are some kind of uniqueness attached to that. Some universities gender friendly, like women friendly, sometimes family friendly universities, and universities which focus on relevant research like green hydrogen or sometimes climate change, those kind of things that you have to search for from internet, and you should include that in your motivation letter. Then about the planning, we all have bachelor students have RAVE program, rural agriculture work experience program, and in the sixth semester onwards, you can start preparing for that. So try to involve in the activities which you would like to project in your motivation letter, which program you are going to apply. For example, rural development master's program. So each module you have some opportunity to get involved with the society and try to involve sincerely and learn something out of that, and you can get work experience certificate or the project preparation certificate, or sometimes you have conducted some interview for the farmers. Everything you can get documented from your university or the module coordinator. So this will help you to project everything in your motivation letter, like not like the whole thing, but like key points, and you can add to your curriculum vitae CV. So because for a bachelor student, we don't have that much to add to that. So this is one option that you can do. And in case of master's programs, if you would like me in PhD program, you would like to apply, definitely you should attend some conferences, seminars, and try to publish your master work. That is very important. So we are far behind in publications. Like in our universities, most of the time we need just an acknowledgement to submit our thesis. So we should, if you're planning for a PhD, at least you should publish one paper. This will add to the success of your selection. That's the advantage. And not only your grades or academics, but how you are involving in various activities. For example, in your university, sometimes you have college union activities. You can involve as a arts club secretary, or sometimes NSS activities, NCC activities, and everything will count to your CV. So these kind of broad level of activities from your side is essential to get selected. As I mentioned before, OGPA is the only one criteria. It's not always, you shouldn't be like the topper, but if you have 9 OGPA, your confidence will be increasing. Like I have more chances to get selected. So then about the project proposal also. So when you are selecting one, you should be passionate on that topic. That is important. It's not for just going there and doing PhD, but you should have some real interest to do the research. That will definitely reflect in your motivation letter and research proposal. And when you are writing to professors, they can really feel your interest from your letter and your CV and research proposal. So maybe you can attend some kind of PhD proposal writing workshop to learn how to write a PhD proposal. As I mentioned, plan ahead. 1.5 years of preparation is needed for filing the application. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashna. That was um, a really good take on the selection criteria for getting a position abroad. I would like to hear from Subhash. Can you talk a bit more on two very key selection criteria which Archana mentioned? One is a motivation letter, and second one is getting a reference letter um, a, or you can say writing to professor and getting a invite. So these are the two very important things for most of the programs. Can you throw some light on these two issues?
Thank you, Aditya. Like something like from my own practical experience is that it's more likely that you'll get admission to a university where you have some contacts with seniors. So the universities in like most in Europe are a bit biased towards institutes which they already have students. So what I mean by that is that if one of your senior or alumni from your institute already studied in that university, you have a more likelihood of getting acceptance. The whole underlying component here is that your network matters. Who is writing the reference for you matters. To get the attention of a professor, it's good if you have some network, if you already have some collaboration with somebody who worked with that professor or who has contact to that professor. So that's the motivation part of it. When you're getting a motivation letter from a professor from universities, if you know somebody, one of your professor who had worked with some professor in Germany, it's good to get a motivation letter from them. Their motivation letter matters. And while one of the problem which I've seen with most of the Indian professors writing motivation letter is that they write a lot of nice things about you. It's like all about all good things about you. But preferably a good motivation letter should be, sorry, good reference letter should be one which is more honest about where you are. One component with the reference letter is that I just like to highlight is that because the grade point averages, they have no idea about our grade point averages. So it's also good to get your percentile in class, like when you are like writing the reference letter, so that if a few universities, like if you compare universities across India, a few universities you get very low mark, but that doesn't mean that you are a poor student, but it's a relative grading. So it's good to get that into your reference letter so that your chances would get higher irrespective of your OGPA. Writing motivation letter is one of the most challenging part. As Archana said, you need to really show your passion. One thing at this point I need to just focus is that it should be short, within a page. The struggle is that we end up mostly writing more than a page, 2 page. Also, it should be very comprehensive. There are good tips about writing motivation letter in YouTube. You should go through it. And just to mention, especially something to highlight is that you need to revise it a lot. So don't decide to finalize, like think that you could finish a motivation letter in a week. You need to at least start like 2-3 months in advance so that you could have a decent draft. One more thing is that you should share that motivation letter with your friends and colleagues and get a good inputs from them. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Subhash, for highlighting those very important points. Again, the underlying thing is that start early, because you might think that writing a motivation letter is just a page. And if you keep last 2 days for writing it, you will end up writing 4-5 pages. And none of the professor is going to read such a long motivation letter. So it's important to start early and revise as many times as possible. And the most important thing is to show that you are passionate. You really passionate about the work you want to do. Another thing which I'd like to highlight here is that particularly when it comes to PhD specifically, it's always better to apply for as many places as possible, because the thing is now the selection is very, very competitive. and it's not guaranteed that you will be selected in the program. If you just apply for one place and keep quiet, you may not be selected. And it doesn't mean that you are not good enough. It just means that the competition is a lot, and there are different selection criterias. For example, if a university has a project in some specific country, they would be likely to hire someone from that country. So you need to um, apply for more places. Another interesting aspect of this is, okay, we get a very good quality of education, quality of life, everything is okay. But what after we complete our degree? I think someone in the chat also posted the very same question. Does it give a career boost? Will it help us to reach a higher position career-wise when you have a degree from a foreign university? So I'd like to hear more on this from Ashna.
Thank you, Aditya. It's also very subjective. It depends on how you extract the cream out from there. And if you are already employed, okay, your job is secured, because most of us done our PhD after getting employment in the system and then decided with that work experience we applied. And for those who are freshly going there and doing their PhD, I really suggest you to be there. Because if you are passionate in doing research, good research and publishing papers, you can explore international opportunities like United Nations, Food and Agriculture Organization, CGR institutes. And this is my personal advice in this regard. And for me, I really got benefited out of my abroad education. Openly saying, when I have done my MSc from here, I never tried to publish any papers. That's I never knew about like what is the importance of publishing. So I attached to an excellent professor who was giving good guidance to me, and then I involved in publishing, and I was into the world of publishing. That really helped me to understand how to write a research.
Ashna, you're muted. Okay.
So I don't know where I stopped. So it's like about publication, isn't it? Okay, so publications, from that, him only I learned how to publish articles, what is the importance of publishing. Then second one about German Academic Exchange Service. And it's like a lifelong package and hand-holding for a researcher who's in touch with them, in contact with them, especially DAD, New Delhi office. And every year they are organizing some kind of workshop for us, alumni meet for us. And this is like a collaboration opportunities with scientists from reputed institutes of India, especially my recent experience with the DAD Research Ambassador. They have offered us, and when I went there, I met with Indian Institute of Technology professors. There were nearly 25 from there, Indian Institute of Science, NAIT. So it was like an opening for me. And I got some collaborations, and I'm trying to draft some projects with them. So this is the way we are getting a boost in our career if you are involving in international organizations. And then second one is like external membership, because when I was working there, I demonstrated like how passionate I can work, and how I can collaborate with my colleagues, and that actually helped me to still keep my contacts with the German university. So this external membership offers, like I can send some students from Kerala Agriculture University to abroad, based on like the full expense will be covered by this institute funding, projects funding. And we are still collaborating for some papers and also for submitting the projects. And whenever I have some queries, I will be consulting with the postdoc and professor there. So these are all the advantages I have. And in case of working culture, like openness, and also to think straight on our own work, like not like people management, then concentrating on our passionate work, that is also important. So if you are really interested to do research, you can do it anywhere. So sincerity and responsibility, punctuality, obeying rules and regulations, so many things I have learned from my higher education in Germany. And I would like to thank DAD for that opportunity as well. It's all the boost that I have received from Germany. Thank you.
Thanks, Archana. I agree that if you're really passionate about what you do and put yourself completely through the grind, then you will definitely come out as a different person after your degree. And certainly that will help in your career, either directly or indirectly. So I also like to talk a bit about what we like in Germany, right? So now we have seen different opportunities, difference in education system, and how things are different, how to get selected. I'll go first, and I really love how German society is like support its students, whether you're a native German or from outside. The entire society is structured in a way that they would like to help students. First thing is, for the public universities, there is no tuition fee, so education is essentially free of cost. So even as Subhash mentioned, even if you don't have any funding opportunity, you can still get admission into a university and then get a part-time job and support yourself. Even that is also possible. And second thing is like how public transport and with your student ID card itself, your public transport in your city is completely subsidized. Even the stores, they have different like options for students. Specifically, if you show your ID card, you'll get different discounts. So I really love how the entire society is structured around helping students. So if any one of the panelists want to add something, what they really like about being in Germany, feel free to do it. After this, we will take questions which are there in the chat. Anyone wants to add something? Okay, I think we can take some questions now. First question that I would like to take is something we have already addressed in passing, but it's about, I'd like to combine two questions. One is about writing a research proposal. And second thing is, will it be beneficial if your PhD work is in line with your master's research? So can you talk about it, Subhash?
Thank you, Aditya. Like, let me answer the first question on like what should same topic in masters would help for PhD. Of course, if you're applying for a if you're writing a research proposal for PhD based on your master's, it helps a lot, but it's not always necessary. In my case, my master's and PhD topics are completely different, but I'm also a unique case that I had a lot of work experience in between my master's and PhD. So when you're writing your research proposal or when you're writing a motivation letter, you need to justify why are you interested in working on this specific topic. In this justification, in your work could be an example, or else you need a very stronger justification of why you want to do something different from your master's. A strong justification or a reasonable justification would do. That's for having a same master's or PhD topic in research. What was the second question, Aditya? Sorry.
About research proposal writing.
In many, so this is proposal writing is only for scholarships. For projects, you don't need to write a research proposal. Again, it should be a short research proposal. Find a topic. You don't need to be very detailed about it or thorough about it. But one thing you should keep in mind is that it should be interesting. And like, don't come up with a topic which is like economic analysis of mango in Karnataka. Just like something very very region specific, or like find from the literature what is the new trend in that area. Do mention the latest advancement in that research topic, and it should also have a global implication. So like it should have a global implication which means that the learning, it could be a study in India, but it could have some learnings for everybody around the globe. That's very important in a research proposal writing. As Archana said, you should, if you're not comfortable in writing research proposal, you should attend a proper course on research proposal. And there are a good number of trainings and YouTube videos on writing good research proposal. At this point of time, I would like to stop it there.
Yeah. To add to the points that Subhash made, so ultimately, if I have to summarize it, it is like you should show that you know the literature well, and at the same time be brief about it. Second is that you should show why this research topic is interesting. And third, what is innovative? You cannot just do your research by changing the name of the place or doing the same work in a different state. So it won't work. So what is innovative? What is interesting? And you should show, you know, the literature and the developments well. So this is in brief. But again, it varies with project to project, varies with the funding opportunity. As all the speakers highlighted, it's better to start early, do revisions, and if you're not comfortable, do some courses on it. So is there any other questions that you'd like to take from the chat and answer? Many of them are asking if they are allowed to apply for more than one scholarship. Maybe Archana can clarify that point again, even though it's clear in the chat itself.
Okay, in case of Erasmus Mundus programs, I think free, at a time free you can apply for. And the DAT and other things, there is no such kind of restrictions in application process. But Erasmus Mundus, it is there.
Any more questions from the participants? We still have 8 to 9 minutes of time. If you have questions, please post it.
Hello, Aditya sir.
Yeah.
I have one question to Milka ma'am regarding Erasmus Mundus program.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like she mentioned, now we need some certificate like resident certificate and all those things. So in our like I'm from Madhya Pradesh. So like some of the government documents are like they used to write in Hindi. So what about those documents? How we should do? Like should we have to translate them into English or what? Can you please speak on this thing?
Yeah, I would suggest you to get English ones. Like even here, we get both. We get in Malayalam, but I ask them to write it in English for me and provide me. I think there will be an option for English as well.
Okay. Or ma'am, one more thing like this, the like this allowance and all like scholarship, monthly scholarship, and as you said, you will like 6 months you will be in Turkey, then you will be moving to Poland. So like the flight fare and all the allowance which will be getting from the fellowship will be regular, like will be getting on time.
No, in the travel allowance, I got like when once I came to Turkey, I got my first installment of 3,000 euros for my first year, and in the second year, I will again get 3,000 euros for my second year. So it's like more than sufficient for buying the tickets and all the visa procedures.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Hello. Yeah, am I audible, Aditya?
Yes, you are audible, sir. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you very much. I'm Dr. Shiraz. I'm working as an assistant professor at the coast of Kashmir. That's one of the agriculture universities in Kashmir, India. And presently I'm from Cambridge, UK. This was a nice program that organized by you. I must thank Dr. Archana, Dr. Subhash, Dr. Aditya, Dr. Rashid. You have been all wonderful organizing this program. Just a few points I would like to add. The first thing the students need is letter of support, letter of reference. The most difficult part, what I find in getting these fellowships, overseas fellowships for our students, is the consent letter or the reference letter from a professor. But that was already cleared by Dr. Subhash that it depends upon the network. But our students, I mean, at the initial stage, they might not be having that much of a network. So we need to do in a way to channelize or so that the reference letter they should get. I mean, what I find, hence, I am myself on a fellowship that's sponsored by SERB, that's Science and Engineering Research Board, that I was awarded very recently. And at our university, under the NAHI program, that's the mega project funded by the ICR, many faculty members have been provided opportunity to visit overseas institutions. And our SCOST is doing wonderful in that area also. But letter of reference, we need to channelize so that our students get the letter of reference. And then writing proposal, you have discussed a bit. I mean, how to write a proposal. You have given some tips, even Dr. Subhash has cleared. So this was the wonderful program, but getting consent letter or getting reference letter, we need to do something for our students to channelize the process so that they can get the reference letter easily. This is what the most difficult part is. It depends upon the network, but our students don't have the network at the initial phase of the life. So this is the my point. Rest everything was that was really inspirational. I have seen rare kinds of such programs. That's why I attended your full program right from the beginning. So this was really nice initiative taken by you. I thank everyone for organizing such a wonderful program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Archana, maybe you would like to answer?
Yes, I would like to add something. So for getting reference letters also, you can approach professors when you start the preparation. And I know Vrindaja and Milka, they are my students, and they have started their preparation far ahead. So they were correcting, they approached me whenever, like it's like 2 months before or something. So they need recommendation letters if it is from the dean also. And I couldn't find that much difficult. It's depending upon the student, how they are establishing contact with the professors and informing them, and they will be ready to help them. And if they are getting sufficient time, and the student should be very keen to remind the professors as they are also busy with their academic and research activities, and definitely this will help. How the student is approaching, that is also important. That's it.
Exactly. Now, even Dr. Subhash has cleared the one important point that it depends upon the network. So wholly and solely lies on the network, how you build it. So, but anyway, thanks a lot for your suggestions, and every speaker who has shared their experiences, overseas experiences. That was the wonderful program. I once again thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Hello,
you so
Aditya
much.
sir.
Yeah.
I
Go
have
ahead.
one more doubt. I have one more doubt regarding this
Mhm,
letter of recommendation.
mhm.
Like, suppose, like as sir mentioned about the network. So suppose like I'm from Central Agriculture University in Manipur, and I have some non-professors in PAU. Like I have a personal contact with them. So can I take my recommendation letter from them? Will that be considered or not? Like he's not my professor, he's not teaching me, but I have a contact with him.
I think Subhash is the right person to answer this.
It's always discouraged because while writing a recommendation letter, they need to also justify how they know you. But if what you mean by contact, if you had worked with them, they have a good knowledge about your skills, it's okay. You could ask them to give you a recommendation letter. In recommendation letter, something which the professor need to justify is that how well they know you and what qualities they find good in you, which would pose you as a suitable candidate for this program. So yeah, if you could have a, like, when I say contact, I'm referring to is more research contact or professional contact.
Okay, thank
Aditya,
you
would
so
you
much,
like to
sir.
add something to that?
Like means
Yeah.
like if I took JRF classes from one of the professor, like through, so that will it be considered as contact, professional contact?
There is no clear definition of what is and what is not a professional contact. But what point Subhash is trying to highlight is, if your referee comes and say in your reference letter that he is very good, he is very intelligent, he is humble, he is down to earth, and that's not going to work. So they need to be more specific that I took this course and in this he did like that, which shows his honesty or how good he is. So it needs to be more specific, and reference letter will be more valid if they closely associated with you, taught some course, or worked together and did a paper. Yeah, so it's like that. And I'd like to add one more point, because the term network has come up quite often in the discussion. Network is not just about like knowing someone. It's also about attending the conferences in the subject area of your interest. Maybe for bachelors it may be difficult, but at least for those who are in masters, make it a habit to attend the conferences of your own subject. And now after COVID, many of the things are online. So make sure to attend those conferences and know who are the professors who are working in your area, and try to know their work, which will help you to approach those professors and get the letter of support. This is one additional thing that I wanted to add. So now we are at the end of our webinar, and I'd like to conclude here. First of all, thanks to my co-panelists. All of you have been really wonderful and explained the things very clearly, and also answered the question of all the participants. So thanks a lot for taking your time and being here today and making the presentation. So on behalf of all the organizers and myself, my thanks to all of you. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Rashid sir and Nimisha ma'am for their organizational support. Without their help, it wouldn't have been possible for us to organize this webinar. So thanks to Rashid sir and Nimisha ma'am. And also at the end, I'd also like to thank all the wonderful audience. So you have been very active, and you have asked very relevant questions and stayed till the end, stayed with us till the end. So thank you so much. And on the behalf of all the participants and behalf of Chris, we wish you good luck for your future endeavors. May you get selected in your dream program. So good luck with that, and thank you all. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. We are closing now.